Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming out. My name's Sam Gaglani. I'm the EVP of Global Business Development at Xsolla. Today, I'm happy to share the stage with four of the biggest movers and shakers in the industry. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and then we're going to get into what we think is going to be happening in the next 5 years. Anna, quick intro.
Hi, everyone. My name's Anna Mostyn-Williams. I'm the Senior Director of Publishing and Partnerships at Jagex, and we are best known for being the home of RuneScape.
Hi, I'm David. I'm more of a medium-sized mover and shaker, but I'll do my best. I'm the founder and co-founder and general partner at F4 Fund, which is an early-stage fund that invests in consumer and gaming companies. Prior to this, I was an entrepreneur in the games business, built several studios, starting from Text Muds in the 90s to a company called Snapshot Games that made strategy games for PC and console that was acquired by Embracer a few years ago. And yeah, that's me.
Awesome. Michael Lewis, I just joined DeOs, which is a game streaming startup a few weeks ago. Prior to that, I was doing direct-to-consumer. I was SVP for D2C at Take-Two. And then prior to that was at Twitch and EA, kind of in and around doing D2C for 15 years or so.
And my name's Nika Nour. I'm the new Senior Vice President at Savvy Games Group, handling all international business development. Prior to Savvy, I was at Genvid Entertainment, more known for its narrative work on Silent Hill Ascension and DC Heroes United. And prior to that, I was Executive Director for the IGDA Foundation.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming and spending some time with me on stage. So as we get into what we see coming up in the next 5 years in terms of trends and future predictions, I've kind of bucketed it into three areas. The rise of community and how community is affecting game developers when they make a game and how it influences people and people's strategies. I also look at the rise of VC money coming into the space and how VCs should be acting when they're interacting with developers and publishers. And then finally, I think we want to look at platform dominance. What is going to be the next platform that will be dominating in the next 5 years? So when we think about community, we think about what's going on in terms of how content creators and community are affecting publishers' decision making, and whether it's how they're making a game or how they're rolling out a product. I'm going to kind of start with Anna here, because Jagex does have a very powerful and vocal community. And recently, and I'll let her get into it, they rolled something out where the community had a lot to say.
Yeah, I mean...
How diplomatic.
Yeah, extremely
Thank
diplomatic. Yeah, it's not been necessarily the easiest start to the year. I like to think of us as having done community before community was a thing. One of our games, old school RuneScape, every single piece of content that goes into game is voted on by the community. So you would think that we do community really well, and most of the time we do. The lesson that we've had this year is we are looking at how we evolve our subscriptions and our services, and we went out with a survey, and it landed literally like a bomb in the community. We were review bombed on Steam. We had a ton of cancellations, and there's been a lot of work to sort of make good with the community since then. I think it was not deliberate. It genuinely was down to misunderstanding and us not positioning it in the right way, which we put our hands up for. But I think it's been a really, really good lesson for us because if we, as a company who does this every single day, it's kind of in our DNA, can get it so wrong.
Yeah.
And not listen to the community and interact with them in the right way. I think...
What's fascinating to me is, and to be clear, they didn't roll out a product. They were just asking a question. And the fact that the community reacted that way and caused you to reposition something very quickly says to me that the community nowadays holds a great sway over how publishers and developers are interacting with them. David, Michael, Nika, curious to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I think even for the largest brands, I could just, kind of spin it in a slightly different direction. One of the piece of advice I'd always give teams when I was at Twitch was that they should concentrate on building out a tier of small to medium-sized influencers that they can then make larger. And by doing that, by investing in small and mid-sized creators, rather than trying to only target the absolute top largest creators, I found that was a good way to start to build the core kind of DNA of a community. And then you could, once you've done that, then that can kind of act as armor and can really help you, when you're in tougher times with communities. So, I just always advise teams to start building community early and concentrate on, small and mid-sized folks, because the very, very largest in the space, kind of come and go from your game.
Yeah.
But if you can build that, kind of core crew, then, those guys can kind of grow with you and scale with you.
Got it. Nika?
I love community.
I know. Well, GenVid was like the grand experiment, right?
It did. I mean, so for the last 3 years at GenVid Entertainment, prior to coming to Savvy Games Group, we worked on an interactive live narrative streaming service where you could actually decide collectively as an audience what would happen next in the story. And we did this by licensing really big IP like The Walking Dead, Pac-Man, Silent Hill Ascension, DC Heroes United, my personal project because I love Batman. Tried to convince the community to kill Superman, but I wasn't allowed to influence decisions. That's a personal choice. But I've seen the power of community, and it doesn't matter if you're either doing, a live service game, a mobile product. Who you are as a developer, you define your ethos and your game and what you're putting out into the world. At the same time, in parallel, you should be looking for your people. Who are the people from the ground floor that are going to support you, understand your vision? Because when you put out your sequels, when you're working on those next games, it's those early adopters that are going to be with you beginning to end.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll turn on you, and they've got opinions, which we've dealt with. But it made our products better, and I think it can help make developers better by really listening to feedback and acknowledging it. And that's where I think community is powerful. It's like a third level QA program.
For sure.
I was going to add that I think the worst position to be in is like no one cares.
Exactly. Apathy is the worst.
Yeah.
I don't want people who don't care about what I've just put my heart and soul into.
I'm going to let you talk because I know you want to say something.
Well, community can be like really powerful and amazing, and it's obviously a part of every game's marketing plan at this point. Exception we did AAA, but it can also be absolutely terrifying. We had this experience with the last game that I worked on when I was still a developer was a game called Phoenix Point, and we had a very simple crowdfunding campaign, and everything was going great, and then we ended up doing a deal with Epic, who were in the early stages of launching amplification. So we did a deal with Epic because they, frankly, the money was just too good to say no to, and we were an indie studio, and I had bills to pay, and the community was not happy, to put it mildly, and so we thought, okay, everyone hates us, everyone's very angry, let's do an AMA on Reddit, because we were idiots. And we had this AMA, and it was, I don't think there are polite words to explain the sensation of talking to a very, very, very angry fan community for an hour and a half as they tell you just how badly you messed up and how much they hate you. But I think I was chatting with someone from Reddit afterwards, and the thing that really stuck with me that he said was, here's the problem. He's like, you shouldn't have done an AMA at all. I was like, oh, but why not? We thought that's the thing to do. And he's like, you should only talk to your community if you are willing to change the decision you've made. Mm-hmm. Because if you're just going out there to try and calm everybody down, but frankly, they were writing us a huge check, there was no way that we were not going to do that deal, then why are you talking to them? Then people will see right through it. They think this is a kind of a political exercise. And it took us a long time to repair that damage. So anyway, that was an interesting experience.
So can I talk? I wanted to talk about, I might. It also kind of, what I've noticed, especially when Rockstar bought 5M, and this whole new user-generated content and the mods that have taken off, it's extended the life cycle of a game. GTA 5's been out forever, but I don't know if you want to talk about it a little bit or if you can, but.
Ooh, what can I say about 5M?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, if anyone can't hear me, raise your hand. But I think what can I say about 5M? I mean, I think there's a lot there. Like, I think part of what makes it so unique is that it's like very closely associated with and powers Twitch in a lot of ways. And I think the real reason for that is that it gives streamers, it's like kind of similar to what you and Jacob did at GenVid, where it just becomes much more interactive because you can it's role playing. It's like a really, really good engine for role playing. And when you talk to streamers, like it's the high kinetic, like streaming something on PUBG, let's just say, is exhausting to do every day, and it's very repetitive. And when you have something like 5M and servers like NoPixel where you can take it in any direction, I think that just becomes a canvas to create content. So I think there's a couple things there, but it becomes much more interesting and powerful, and enables all forms of narrative and creation that just aren't possible without that. So I think that's been was a really kind of smart deal for Rockstar to do, and it's been great to kind of see that business and that service grow and thrive.
Yeah. I think I lost. Can you guys hear me? Yes. All right, cool. So we're short on time, so I'm going to move to the next topic. It's what I've just seen in the last 5 years, and then what I think we're going to see a lot more of in the next 5 years, is this influx of VC and PE money into our industry. It's changed the way games are getting made, the way games are getting funded. Companies are gobbling up other companies because of all this massive influx of money. I'm going to start with David.
Sorry.
Because I feel like, and we talked about this in our pre-call, about what is the role of a VC as they start to enter into this industry. Is there a right set of rules, do's and don'ts? I mean, it's a pretty controversial topic because it has spawned a bunch of studios that have, X name that big company. People have started a company because they were able to raise a bunch of money. David, take it away, because I know this is a hot topic for you, and you also are a. You do have opinions.
First of all, can people hear me, or should I use this?
Use the mic.
handheld.
Use the big mic. Okay. Use the big mic. I'm using the big mic. Actually, before I start, are there any other venture capitalists in the audience?
Now you can talk.
Excellent. That's great. Okay. Otherwise, so we're just going to keep this between us. Okay. So look, I think that the games industry. First of all, I should say, the games industry has had venture capital involved since the very beginning. EA was backed. EA was venture backed, and there were many others. But if you look at the history of the games industry, the expansion, whenever there's been a major, and also one other point, why do venture capitalists exist, aside from just swan around hotel lobbies in vests? And the answer is, VC's business model is to find unusually high growth companies and markets and bet on those. And if you look at the history of the games industry, all of the expansion of the games industry has been driven by some technology unlock that has expanded the audience in some way. Started off with GPUs, gave us Doom and all of the games that sort of followed there. The internet gave us MMOs. It allowed Valve to become the behemoth it is today with Steam and digital distribution. And then, most recently, obviously, we had mobile, which added hundreds of millions or probably billions of new players. And in simple terms, the size of the games industry is a function of how many people in the world are playing games and how much time they are spending. And these technology jumps allow that number to go up a lot. And I think what happened off the back of the rise of mobile was an amazing thing for venture capital, because you could build these games for not very much money, and then you could pour almost unlimited amounts of money into growing them very, very quickly, right? Perfect. Exactly what VC looks for. And as a result, you had a kind of a new thing happened where you had these gaming-specific VC funds that all popped up off the back of all this growth. Yep. But then, mobile towards the end of the 2010s matured, and so now you have all these funds, and they've raised hundreds of millions of dollars, and they've said to all of their LPs, hey, we're going to invest in games, and all of a sudden, where's the next growth coming from? And incentives will dictate behavior, right? And so, unfortunately, you can't will a new growth catalyst into existence. So what you had is a bunch of money went into, first of all, Web3, and that was, we all know what happened there. And then also a lot of money went into, as Sam mentioned, these teams that were coming out of places like Riot and Blizzard, and and unfortunately that's a red ocean to begin with. And I think it's really difficult to sort of foie gras a big game company just with money. Like most of success in the games business.
That's a great metaphor.
Success in the games business, it takes time. Like it takes time to build a brand, to build an audience, to build the kind of connective tissue inside of a team. You look at a From Software, right? Like Elden Ring was the culmination of decades of work, really. And so a lot of that happened. I think that's largely been a failure. Most of those companies have run out, or are running out, or are running out of money. And so now the next thing, of course, is AI. And
but what about the metaverse?
And the metaverse.
Don't get me started on the metaverse. So now it's AI, and I think AI is obviously, we've made lots of AI investments, and I think it's clearly going to be an extraordinary, important set of technologies that's going to have huge impact on a lot of industries, including games. It's certainly impacting the way that games are made, and it's hopefully going to make them cheaper and quicker to make. And I know there's going to be mixed feelings about AI in the audience, but we'll leave those to one side. But again, it's not yet proven that it's going to be a massive consumer unlock, a demand unlock. And we have made one or two investments in what we would think of as sort of AI-native game studios that are working on ways to incorporate AI into gameplay in novel ways. And, but it remains to be seen whether, and the hope is obviously one of those companies, hopefully one we've invested in, becomes a category-defining multi-billion-dollar company, because that's what we want that's what we want to happen. But I think the jury is still out, and I think in the meantime, that's why you're seeing, if you've pitched a VC recently, you'll notice a lot of VC funds are sort of repositioning, gaming funds are repositioning as like, well, we don't just do games. And I think that's the reason. They're realizing, okay, we can't just keep pouring money into these things hoping that these technologies are going to magically produce a massively bigger market. And that's why they're looking at things like consumer businesses. So all this is to say, maybe don't just understand that's what's happening in from a VC's perspective. And if you're just pitching a game that's going to go on Steam and it could be a great game, that's not really why VCs exist. And by contrast, if you have a really weird idea which has got very novel distribution, just like totally batshit, that has a high chance of failure, but if it works, could be really, really big, and you can actually paint a picture for how that could happen. That's more of a venture bet. So.
And if it has AI in it.
No, just totally. Well, maybe.
So lots to unpack there. Louis, Nika, you guys want to chime in?
I would just broadly give this advice because look, I'm 2 months into Savvy. I get a lot of pitches.
Yeah.
Clean up your pitches. I know this sounds very basic, and some of you, I'm sure, put together great pitches, but 90% of the pitches I receive, I've got incomplete information. Our time is very, very valuable, and we're really flooded in this market. We're open to ideas. We want to see how you're making your games, but be really, really clear. This is what I'm making. This is how much I'm asking for. This is the future. Here's how I've projected for it. Here's how I'm going to scale for it. The number of emails I get, I've got a great, groundbreaking, innovative idea. Please get on a call with me for 20 minutes tomorrow. And no context, I can't take every call.
Yeah.
And also, not every call is going to be a fit. If it's not a fit, understanding and doing your research of who you're pitching and seeing what they invest in is going to save you a lot of time.
Yeah.
I'm always happy to refer people to places that I know it's in their remit. Some places have certain thresholds. Some people are only doing pre-seed. Some people are waiting for Series B. Spend your time wisely and do your homework and really, really cleanly catalog what it is you're asking of others, because that's what's going to get your emails and your pitches through.
Thanks.
And please
Yeah.
don't send us Facebook and Instagram messages on our personal socials. That would be my other ask.
That'd be a big red flag.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Now, Louis, you're out there trying to raise money, so
Yeah,
you're on the other
closing.
side of it,
Yeah.
right? So what have you kind of seen, and like, where do you kind of see this going as we're evolving to 2030?
I mean, I think the macro climate is challenging for folks who are raising, but I still see, so what I've heard a lot of is, I really like it. We think the thing's groundbreaking. We just need more validation from XYZ.
Yeah.
So, it kind of took us a while to get through that to, now we're getting lots of term sheets and, the momentum kind of changes pretty quickly. So, it was definitely challenging there. I mean, I had a really good network from, my time in the industry, so it was easy to get like a lot of the kind of first meetings and to pitch, pretty much all the VCs, but for me, it was a lot of time to try to find the right fit, to try to find the right, dynamics for the round, to weed out a lot of investors who were too small or who were too late, to try to, kind of calibrate that. So apologies to some of the early VCs we talked to where it was like, hey, this isn't the right, pitch for you guys, but thanks for spending an hour of your time listening.
With me, yeah.
But yeah, no, I think now it's, we've kind of calibrated that and closing soon.
Yeah. And Anna?
We're at the other end of the
You're the
spectrum.
other side of it. You've gone through 2 PE, it sounds like, right?
Acquisitions.
Yeah.
So, I guess the best side of it, of like what you want from those who invest, is expertise. We've been pretty lucky with our newest parents that they have some really good experience, and they're very hands-on with the business, which is helpful. I think one of the big challenges that you have is like, how does your like creative roadmap align with the reality of an investment cycle? Because they're not going to hold you forever, and that there is a tension there, and that will determine conversations. It determines it. These are conversations that we have. We know that there are certain things that are just going to be off the table because they're not going to realize the value of it. So, a reality.
And you're kind of the gatekeeper of the IP because it's been around
25 years.
25 plus years, right?
Yeah.
So lots of interesting perspectives on VC and PE money. I'm going to switch right now to platforms because I think we've got a few minutes left. This to me is a really, I think, controversial topic because we are seeing a shift, I believe, in what is going to be the dominant platform. People are saying it's going to be mobile. This guy's going to say it's cloud. Michael's going to say it's cloud.
Absolutely.
So I'm super curious to hear your perspectives on it because cloud has been around for a long time. It's gone through 4 iterations.
I've worked on 3.
Yes, I know.
This is the 4th.
So I'm going to start with you because this is like a burning question for a lot of people. Is it going to be cloud? I don't know what happened to VR. Like, is it even relevant anymore?
Man, I feel like, saying the same thing I said like 2 years ago or something on this very stage.
Yes.
Just
you made people raise their hands.
Yeah, that's right. Could I just do the VR VR thing? And this is not my novel idea. This is Strauss. Zelnick does this in town halls at Take-Two all the time. So start with the dismissing the VR thing. How many folks in the audience have a VR thing?
Nice.
Whoa.
Nice. How many of you guys used it yesterday? Liars. Yeah, so 2. So in a room of like games industry folks who are like smack dab in the center of tech adoption, there's 2 DAU. And as you guys know, like game publishers, game developers, we look at everything in terms of DAU.
Yeah.
So, I just think the challenge with VR is that it takes too much space and it's kind of awkward to do. AR, there's been one successful AR game, which, you guys just acquired. So I just think, again, fantastic game, doing really well. I just think that the market for those is limited. The console business, I think, is great. It's not, one venture capitalist who will remain nameless told me that she wasn't bullish about the console and PC space because at some point maybe it will be a viable platform for VR. And I was like, what are you talking about? It's like 90, whatever, $100 billion, and the other one is like nothing.
Yeah.
But that aside, like I think that there's always going to be. It's just helpful, I think, to think of this in terms of modalities. There's going to be people who are interested in having a 10-foot experience and sitting and playing something on the couch. There's going to be people who are interested in playing something on the computer. There's going to be folks who are interested in playing something on the phone. In terms of streaming, I don't view streaming as something that's going to change any of those paradigms, honestly. It's just going to be similar, I think, to the way, hey, sometimes it's more convenient to consume content when I'm on a phone. Sometimes it's more convenient to consume content on my couch. And streaming is just a means to move the thing that's delivering that from a box under your TV to something that's running remotely on a server.
Yeah.
So I think the things I'm really bullish, the reason I'm joining DeOs is because the company solves the streaming cost challenge. They're able to deliver streaming for an order of magnitude less cost than any other services in the space. And the company's focused obsessively on trying to reduce round-trip latency. So I think if your round-trip latency is similar to the latency you have from your mouse to your keyboard, then I think we're going to be in pretty good shape, and we're going to see streaming proliferate the same way it did with with all other forms of media. So that's why I'm so bullish about it. But I don't know that people aren't. Ideally, they're not going to experience it as the same kind of disruption that we're not. I think there's a big mistake in telling everyone, hey, in order to participate in streaming, you need to, it's Stadia. You need to buy games again.
Yeah.
You need to, get this little console. You need a different special controller. So I think once, that business model changes, that's how we're going to start to see that really proliferate.
So do you think it'll change the way players are monetizing and spending, or is it just an augmentation of the current experience?
I think
that's where I'm trying to think of.
Yeah, I think the way that players are monetizing and spending, I think there's one exception to this. So I'll say, by and large, I don't think that the way that players are monetizing and spending itself will change. I think it's still buying titles a la carte, subscribing to games, and most importantly, purchasing IAP. But I think that there's kind of two things that I think it's going to change. I think one is it's going to expand the market for AAA games to make it something that they can play on mobile.
Okay.
I think if you look at, if you just take a step back and it's like I'd say the best games that appeal to core gamers on AAA are, mid-core and hardcore games, which are like okay, but Grand Theft Auto 5 is better than any mobile game. Like just full stop. And Grand Theft Auto 6, I'm sure, is going to be better than any game on mobile for a while.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in playing like a better, faster, kinetic experience, my brother, runs Call of Duty Mobile. It's definitely going to be better than his crappy game to play the mainline Call of Duty. So
is he here? No.
Hopefully not. Yeah. Don't tell him I said that. Yeah, great game, Matthew. So I think like unlocking the ability to play higher quality games on that device is something that you can only do with streaming, and that's why I'm so bullish about it.
Okay.
So I think it's going to bring new games there, and then the second thing I do think is like it's going to expand the market.
Yeah.
It's going to expand the market in two ways. It's going to expand the market geographically, because in India and emerging markets,
Africa,
and the places you've been preaching to me about for 2 decades. That's I think something that streaming is going to fundamentally change. And the last I'd say is like the combo of streaming and ads. That changes industries, right? You can't do that when ads are so expensive, or when streaming costs are so expensive. But as streaming costs fall, I think that model of streaming combined with the ubiquity and ease of use and having ads there as an option is going to really start to expand the market. That's why I'm so bullish about it.
I'm going to give other people a chance to comment. David, did you want to go? Hannah? David?
I have no idea.
I wish I knew what the next big platform was going to be, because I'd be planting. Yeah. But I honestly don't know. It's not obvious at all. So there you go. I don't know. There you go.
I appreciate the honesty.
If anyone else has any ideas, I'd love to hear.
For me, I guess, the player perspective, giving people the ability to play what they want to play whenever they want to play. And I say this as someone, like, I have 2 little kids, so my ability to, like, sit with a console, like, I just don't have the time anymore.
Yeah.
So things like Steam Deck, I think cloud, like, that answers me as, like, a player, you know? And I see the ability with cloud to take that one step further. So let's see. Maybe it's not a platform, you know? Maybe that's
Maybe
it.
not.
I think content is king.
Yeah.
If you make a great game,
People are going to
people will
yeah.
just follow you anywhere.
Yeah.
Maybe anywhere but VR because of the, just so
Poor
we're clear, I
VR.
like my headset. But that's, I mean, I think VR is still the most onerous. If you make a great game, if it's absolutely awesome to play, people will find you, people will make it work.
Yeah.
And I really believe in that.
Okay. So I know we're at time, but bold prediction for the next 5 years. You. I pick you.
You do.
You first. Bold prediction. Let's go.
Bold.
Go bold.
I don't know. I think we're going to be playing a lot more Chinese-made games in the future, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's one.
I think within the next, I'm going to be even more aggressive, within the next 3 years.
3.
Direct to consumer is going to be more
Yes.
than 50%.
Thank
of
you
the
for saying
revenue,
that.
And I think we're going to lop $500 million or $500 billion
$500
off
billion?
the market cap of Apple and Google as a result. Because I think it's a huge part of their revenue, and I think it's shifting D2C much more quickly than folks realize.
So it's almost gotten to the point where they can't stop it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Anna?
Right, it's kind of a boring one, but I'm interested in the idea that you would have like a single sign-on for everything. So
Yes.
you like take away all the fragmentation.
Yes.
Because, yeah,
One
I think we
ID.
all suffer. We all suffer from this.
Yes.
But yeah, there's opportunity there.
Multiple users, passwords,
Precisely.
all of it.
There's
Yeah.
a little XKCD comic about that, which is like, there are too many standards. There's 16 standards for this.
Yes.
And then there were 17 standards.
Yes. All right, we're at time. Do we have time for Q&A, or we're done? Done?
Fine.
One more
Oh,
prediction.
did you want to go?
Yeah.
I told you.
She wants to go.
Are you like, I don't have a bold comment to make, Sam? Give me a break.
Give her-
No, look, mine's biased. I'll make it really clean and clear. I think the Middle East is going to be a next big major gaming hub. I'm personally moving to Riyadh. I've been there. I've seen it. It's absolutely buzzing, and
Yeah.
I can't wait to spend, the next chapter of my life really bringing international companies into the kingdom, helping people make their dream products, and upskill the local economy. So if you're having a hard time right now, I need some new neighbors.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. We're getting the time to cut it. Sorry. Thanks, everyone, for coming.